and access their farms and all of that. An entire community would raise monies to ensure that they are safe. Now, instead of saying we're going to call on our security terrorists more, that they would pay the terrorists, seems like they would take the words of the terrorists against what and the operatives tell them. So if we know that we're going to pay, say, 20 million, if the people try to protest, those same security architecture that they say they have no control over, those same people appear to protesters, those same people to be provided. So who are we deceiving?
Maybe when it comes to the security of lives and property.
Or property of Nigerians, then it's government space. This is a territory under you as a governor. It says it's a local government in your state. First of all, they would not even conduct local government elections in those states, right? So they impose or appoint
people,
caretaker chairman or whatever, and those guys are more or less stooges in their hands. They do whatever. They probably just give them pay the state the votes and all of that. But at the end of the day, the people who voted them in, the people whose lives and property they swore to protect, die on a daily basis, and they tell you that those spaces are ungoverned spaces. I mean, I heard that in Kaduna those years, and I was wondering, are you saying that you are not governor in these places? That your governance ends in the urban city? They say, the Kaduna, Abuja forest and all of those forests are ungoverned spaces. What made them ungoverned? It's because you probably have looked away from them. Let's say these things as they are. We're talking about the North Central. Now the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory. We're talking about bringing investors, wooing investors. We want investors to come into the country. The president has traveled around the country, several countries in the last 7 months or so, saying that they're wooing investors into the country. Now you're wooing investors, and you're telling them to come into a space where the federal capital is like saying that that Washington D.C.
is not safe.
Is not safe. All right, they read in the news. You read in the news every day that Washington D.C., where the seat of the president is, where the White House, the Pentagon, and the rest of them are, isn't safe. It doesn't make any sense
at all.
It really doesn't make sense. We have the president here. We have a minister of the FCT, who, by the way, has removed the FCT from the TSA. So, the minister has monies now to play around with. That's what they say, right? So why don't we have these monies for... Yesterday, for God's sake, people went to shop. People went to buy stuff for their families. I was just thinking about it. I drove out in the morning to buy bread. And later in the evening, I drove out again to get something at the store. And I'm like, so this could be me just driving into a store to buy something quickly and return home. I tell my family, I'm coming, maybe in a short or something. I'm coming. I need to, let me get this thing. And then the next thing they hear is that, daddy's
maybe
there.
A phone call.
Mommy. And it's just sad. It's just really sad. This is the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory.
It's shocking.
The capital of Nigeria.
It's so shocking.
I don't want to talk about this myself.
It's shocking. It's so shocking that the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, the seat of power of the nation, is no longer safe. By the way, if you're just joining us for the first time, this is Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience. You can count on. This is our flagship program. It's called the Eagles Outlook. Like I did say, on this particular program, we'll talk about critical issues, and Honorable Apedi Great, and I have with me this morning
Nacho Prince.
Oh yes, it feels good to be here, and we are going to be speaking with someone who is going to be airing his own view on this particular topic this morning. And don't forget that you also need to prepare, because you will contribute. You will tell us what you have to say about the security in the FCT. Around FCT as well. Okay, I have Adefolarin Olamilekon on the line this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all our great listeners out there.
Okay, nice to have you, Adefolarin. How are you doing this morning?
Again, and we give glory to God.
Very well then. Okay, now, Ade Folarin, security in the FCT and its environment. That's what we're talking about this morning. In your own opinion, how would you rate security in the Federal Capital Territory?
I think partially it has been a little bit successful, but on the overall generality of what FCT residents, FCT individuals feel about insecurity, of course, we tell you that we are yet to get there, meaning that more is expected from the government, more is expected from the minister, and more is expected from the security agencies in ensuring that FCT is secure and the surrounding states that are within the geographical location of FCT. So we, even though we can say, okay, partially it has been successful, but more is expected in terms of governing security governance in FCT to be more secure, and the surrounding states also to also be catered for. And that is what we can call for. You can't say totally it has been all that strict for the security architecture and the surrounding states, but we need to also emphasize that at least partially it has been successful, because it is not something that we can totally condemn that the government have not been trying in terms of security. But concern has been raised that more need to be done to totally secure FCT and the surrounding states within its environment.
Okay, now talking about concerns, the spate of kidnapping in the FCT is on the rise, and I think you remember a few days ago there was this statistic that for just 21 being kidnapped. Now, what do you make of this? Because in a place where the president lives, where the minister of the FCT, aside the minister of the FCT, we have over 40 other ministers, right, living here in the Federal Capital Territory, and we have 109 senators here. We have 360 House of Rep members here, and yet we keep hearing of kidnappings on a daily. Could it be because maybe it hasn't touched the high and the mighty in the FCT?
You are very from your side in terms of at least breaking it down so we can understand the kind of people that are saying it. For me, those kind of people that you are talking about, the insecurity issue will not affect them.
Okay.
Reason being that their place of residence, their place of office is secure. And take a look at it. Most of them reside in the city center. None of them reside in the suburb or the semi-area or semi-urban area of FCT, or neither in the community area or rural area of FCT. When you check physically, the entire data from that kidnapping exercise took place in outskirts of the city center, in outskirts, in council areas that are far, far, far from the architectural master plan of FCT security. So you expect that to happen. So all these people that you see in the political realm, they are well secure. And people that are not well secure are the ones exposed to kidnapping and the rest of them. So we can take it, for example, what has been happening in Kuje for the last 6 years in terms of kidnapping. Kuje has never been secure. Kuje is far, far, far away from the city center. Abaji is far, far, far away from the city center. Bawalada is far, far, far away from the city center. And Buhari, that the recent kidnapping happened, is also sharing border with Kaduna and Niger State. So you can see why it happens that way. And Nasarawa, which also share border with Nyanya, which is also part of FCT. Although we have not been hearing issue of kidnapping in Karishi, there's the extreme end of Abuja into Nasarawa, or Nyanya Mofo area, there's the extreme end into Nasarawa. But because those also are well populated area, that we can see a significance of security architecture within that site. So, but the Kuje, the Abaji, the Wali, the Buhari, extreme end, they are not well secure, and that's why it is happening that insecurity is happening. Because although we are not really now that the issue of armed robbery, the issue of burgling into people's house are not happening in Nyanya, in Karishi. It's happening. One chance more secure than the suburb or the rural area and communities that we have.
Now, I'm particularly worried when we say that these places are suburbs, and then there's an urban city or there's a city center that is somewhat protected, because for starters, some of the security operatives that should protect the people are on VIP DTs, protecting these people that we mentioned earlier. So at the end of the day, who is more Nigerian than the other? Because these people are Nigerians, they live in the Federal Capital Territory. Whether we call it Abaji, whether we call it Buhari, whether we call it whatever it is that we call it, it's in the Federal Capital Territory, which means that they are supposed to be. I mean, before the law, every citizen should be equal, right? Every Nigerian should be equal. No Nigerian should be more Nigerian than the other. This is not the animal farm or whatever, So I'm worried when we make it seem like, oh, those people who are on the outskirts of the city maybe do not deserve this kind of protection. What do you say?
I think it is not just a Nigerian thing. Even if we go to developed countries, although they are well advanced in security technology, that is what is missing here. If we check developed countries, we discover that their city centers are more secure than even the rural and the semi-urban areas. Reason being that the kind of society that we have found ourselves across the world, it has been established that way. But what the other developed countries have been able to do is that they have been able to introduce an interlinked connectivity of security technology that will help them to monitor every phase of their geographical location. But in Nigeria, we don't have that. That's why you see that the concentration is more in the city centers than in the rural areas. I wish we can have a connectivity or security linkage that will help us to monitor every aspect, every position, every location in the city. It will be more reduced. By the time there is an alarm that is a security breach in Abaji, the city centers will definitely get the feeling, and they can be security agencies can be easily mobilized. But in our own case, even when they get the alarm, even when they get the information, they are not mobilized. Even when they are mobilized, they will go 2-3 hours after the incidents have happened. So that's what we found in our own society. But I want to establish that across the world, this is what is obtained. But in developed countries, they have been able to manage it to the point that you don't even see it happening. Because when security are breached, the rural areas, the rural communities, the police, the security agents attend to it within 15-30 minutes. But here in Nigeria, it never happens. And again, when we talk about our constitution recognizing everybody, valuing every human citizen, it is just written on paper. In practicality, the constitution in practice does not value every Nigerian. They pay premium on political leadership. And that's why you see that in terms of remuneration of between the workers and the politicians, or between ordinary Nigerians, what they enjoy and what they get, the ones that enjoy the premium of the wealth of the nation are the ones in political class. So we must understand that in that regard, because if we fail to understand that, we will not be able to change the narrative around the poor nature of our security architecture. Because when we understand that we can change the law in practice, not in written, because it is written that we should all value every citizen, but in practice it is not done. And until we change that orientation about our value in terms of practicality of our constitution, that's when we can now change this narrative and turn everything around. That when we talk about premium place on citizens, it is not a segment of the citizen, but it is overall in practicality. And that's why we're having this situation whereby Abaji is not considered in terms of security of Abuja, Wali is not considered, Ije is not considered, Bogala is not considered, Buhari is not considered. But when we practicalize it fully through our constitutionality and ensure it is practiced fully, practically, not on paper, not by a rhetoric statement, then we are ready to make sure that Abuja is secure and the surrounding state is secure altogether.
Let's talk about the policing ratio. So, the United Nations recommends at least one officer to at least 400, citizens. The Nigerian police staff strength is about 370,000 to police over 200 million people. That would mean that one, to about over 600 cities, if not more. And this is the situation that we found ourselves. The police IGs over time have said, look, let's recruit more police people. We have the constabulary recruitment, 10,000 police from the past administration. They said we're going to have 10,000 police constables recruited every year. But every time that these recruitments come on, we see a face-off either between the Police Service Commission and the IG, or you have, aside from this time, this is the first time we've seen a seamless relationship between the IG's office and the Police Service Commission in terms of recruitment. Now, judging by these numbers, what do you think needs to be done? Because I've seen people say, maybe let's have state police. Let's have state police. Let's have community police as against this one police that we have, going by what the Constitution states. What do you make of that argument?
I think it's very interesting. We can have state police, But I've said it on this platform before that even if we have state police and the state police is not functioning as expected, we still have the same problem. Now, when we talk about what we need to do, I also want to quickly point this out that we have the police, national police. We also have sub-agencies that are also policing the society that we are not even taking cognizance of. We made mention of the police, but we are forgetting that the NSC, the National Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, is also part and parcel of the policing of the society. But because we have not given them the opportunity to also carry out what they need to do, that is why we are having issues. But you can see in the latest round, they are now sending NSCDC corps members to schools to go and protect them and the rest of them. It's also part of policing. Now, the issue around what needs to be done goes back to the numbers of people who want to recruit. We have played politics around this recruitment exercise of policing. And we also play politics around the funding of policing. And that's why we are always having the challenge of we don't have enough men. Most times, when we recruit, the majority of them goes into VIP protection. We must take it out. Majority of them goes into VIP protection. Because the police themselves, the Police Service Commission and the IG have seen that policing is also a source of investment and recruitment for profit. That's why I see that the VIP section of the police is bringing money into the corps of the police, and that's why they are more interested in this. But until we dissect this aspect and say that we don't need to have VIP police, we don't need to have a section that is called VIP police or the section that will be called diplomatic policing. Until we break this rank, police is for entire Nigerian citizens, so we must not have a section that will be protecting some VIP than a section that will be protecting some poor people. We don't need to have that, because that is also creating problems in the numbers of police that we have. When we have the data that we have 357,000 of police, I believe we have more than that. But because of the prosecuting activities of the IG office in this aspect, have made us to look at it, we don't have more policemen. But we have them, but majority of them are not going to VIP policing. Then going forward means that the Police Service Commission and IG must strategically let Nigerians know the number, even though United Nations have suggested the number that we need. We can go beyond what the United Nations is saying. We can even have 6 police to a citizen, or 6 police to 5 citizens. If it's done properly, we can have police outposts in every area that we have sensed that there is need for us not to avoid security breach. We can have them. Then not to also forget the issue about vigilante that is also available. These are also part of policing. So where we are missing out is that when it comes to policing, we politicize it, and we also politicize the funding. And that's where the interest of the elite of Nigeria is. What is coming to the police? You can see in the police budget this year, the police service, police affairs is taking not less than 338 billion as allocation in the budget. They ask me, what are they going to use that amount for? You discover that the amount is going majorly into stomach infrastructure that will take care of issue of salary, issue of allowance of those people in that sector. But we need to tell ourselves that we need to put technology in place to also be used for our policing. Because we don't get to that level, it's not the number of people we are going to recruit that will really solve the problem, but we also need to introduce technology, advanced technology that others have introduced. As I mentioned earlier, that in developed countries, they also have the issue of how to stop breach of security. In the rural area, they may not have enough people. In the US, for example, they make it of sheriff. You can see a sheriff with maybe like 10, 15 staff, but the technology they have put in place in that sheriffing aspect of policing have helped them to curtail a lot of insecurity in their country. We can also do that here. In Kuje, in Abaji, you can establish sheriff kind of policing in those areas, and it will go a long way to help us to save the life of people that have been lost as a result of kidnapping and banditry in the country.
Interestingly, you touched on something that I'm very interested in, the funding for security agencies in the country. In the 2024 budget, the Ministry of Defense got one of the highest allocations of about 1.3 trillion naira. The police got 869 billion or so. And, over time we've said the security agencies in the country haven't been properly funded. At what point and what level of funding do you think the security agencies need? Because we have situations where in states receive security votes. There's also many people have described that as free money for the boys, especially at subnational levels. How do we get to the point where we're able to track and evaluate the spendings on security, because many analysts will say, look, it seems like the insecurity in this country is fueled by the free monies that go into security, that service chiefs and the likes have to play with. So maybe, just maybe, we need to cut down on funding for a while and look at actually, getting these people to do the job, because the last administration spent a lot of money buying equipment, So at what point would we begin to look at performance as against just funding and funding and funding? Because that's what we talk about all the time. We say, oh, the security agencies are poorly funded. And that's the excuse that they go get away with. At what point would we begin to, monitor performance and evaluate performance as against just spending monies?
I think the first thing we need to establish here is that most times when we talk about defense budget, it is done in a way that nobody can even ask them questions how much they are. We know how much they are giving, but nobody can ask them how far they are spending their money. And we know in this country since 1999 we have practiced two sets of budgeting systems: open envelope system and zero sum system. The envelope system means that whatever you spend, you don't make your account. You don't even tell the government what is left. But the zero sum system makes you to understand that whatever you spend, and that the leftover, you return it to the coffer. Right now, nobody asks defense or the military what is left in their 2023 budget. Nobody asks them. If you ask, as if you want to start a war with them. Now, if we understand that, then in terms of the performance that we want to now attach or attract to the level of funding, for me, the funding is not even the problem. The problem we have with the funding is misappropriation of the money in the first place. If you check the defense, the military this day, you see that they are doing so many things that you cannot even see how these things are valued or relevant to security architecture of the country. I don't know whether you are following me. The military established university for themselves. The military established polytechnic for themselves. The military established what they call management and science for themselves. They established so many things that part of this capital or whatever we are budgeting for them, it goes into those areas. I don't know whether you're getting it. They establish university, they establish polytechnic, and part of the money they are giving to their yearly budget will be used to sponsor that place. Getting me? Now, they also have a very critical agency under them. They call it Defense Research and Research Industry Corporation. You know that industry corporation is supposed to be the most well-funded agency under the military. Because that agency, that corporation is supposed to be producing arms, supposed to be producing warfare technology for the military. But recently, I think President Tinubu signed an act that now empower that agency to now be a corporation so that they can do better. I hope you are following me. So when we understand that the budgeting system of our military or the defense is not the problem, but the misappropriation of that money at the end of the day is where we have issues. Because when you don't have the power to ask them how they spend the money, they will just spend the money anyhow. Now, on the other aspect of performance, we can say, for instance, in the last 10 years that we fight insecurity, it has been good. In the Northeast, we have successfully or partially put terrorism to a bay. We have put them to a check somehow. But we still know that they have instituted our system. That's why we have a high rate of kidnapping and banditry on one hand. Then the performance also goes into the aspect whereby the military have lost touch in how to engage in the internal aspect of our insecurity that we are facing. In the sense that they have gone a step ahead. They want to start using drones. So how perfectly would they be able to use that drone? Because these are the things we use to check their performance in one hand. Then the other aspect is the training of their men. How kind of training are they giving to their men? The advanced military knowledge or warfare aspect, or the one that will not even make them to understand how to fight terrorism or stop internal security. These are the aspects that we can use to check their performance. But on the overall of it all is that we must understand that because we don't have the citizens, even the government itself will not have the wherewithal or political will to ask the military how they have spent what they have given to them in relation to their performance. We may be in the black or we may be in the dark. We may not be able to measure it as expected. But for me, I think it has all been misappropriation of the funding because the military have engaged itself in several activities that are not taking up some of the money that are being given. They are building estates here and there. They are investing in printing press. They are investing in polytechnic. They are investing in university. Is that the real cost or the real value that military can add to our security? And that's the question that we need to ask ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much, Adefolarin. Might need to take reactions from listener this morning. Do stay with us, please. We might still get in touch. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, before we start taking calls, you heard him. It's misappropriation, and to me, implementation has always been poor in Nigeria. You know, when they say this budget is for this, and before you know it, the budget is going another way, and no one is asking questions. Is it that some persons are scared of some persons?
You know, this the President Tinubu administration is one. People have said, "Oh, excuse them," because they've not even had their own budget. You know, this 2024 budget presents an opportunity for, you know, is the maiden budget of the administration. The other one was the supplementary budget that they had to do based on the Buhari administration's budget last year. But this time around, we've seen a budget of 28.7 trillion.
Yes.
And we will judge this administration by this budget and how much they're able to implement the budget, and also the transparency and accountability, you know, that goes with budgeting. We haven't seen that in the last couple of years, over 20 years now since we returned to democracy. A very, very transparent and accountable, you know, government that says this is what we spent your money on, and people are able to log onto their websites, you know, the budget office, and see this is what has been spent. President Tinubu says ministries, departments, and agencies would come to retire, you know, and account for their budgets to him at the end of every month. Let's see that plays out. That would be a good thing to see, and it would not just be enough for him to, you know, to see it alone. Let Nigerians also see where the money is going to. That would amount to, you know, we're signed up to the Open, you know, Government Partnership, the OGP, but we haven't really been able to carry a lot of that, you know, that transparency and accountability that is required, so that Nigerians can log on to, we do. You go onto the budget office website, you see, you know, some bit of information as against what we used to have in the past. But let's be more accountable. Let's see that government-owned enterprises are also, you know, showing us what they're doing with the monies, month on month. So at the end of the month, we know, at the end of the year, we can say, oh, you have to retire this, you have to reconcile this, this amount wasn't spent, please bring it back into government coffers, so that, you know, we can maybe rebudget the amount and all of that. So let's see that they're able to spend the monies line item by line item, and they, you know, that accountability is there for everyone to see.
All right, let's wait and see. Wale Edun already promised us that implementation is top priority this time, but let us just wait and see. 09073530044 or 09087668888. You can also join the conversation via WhatsApp 09097054450. Let's talk security this morning around FCT and other states close by. Hello, good morning.
I'm pretty great, I greet you.
Good morning.
The voice I'm hearing, is it Ihan Acho, my brother?
Sunday the Prince, I hail you. Good morning.
I greet you, Ihan Acho. Like your holidays have not been lapsed. I hail you. I pretty great, I greet you. You know, I love you so much. You know, right from the former station you're working to here. I follow you up everywhere. Even people assemble, you know.
Thank you.
Being a man who doesn't fear fish eye. See the way it is, you know.
Thank you.
I really, sometimes I said, if there's no radio, where will people like us hear our views, make our contributions? If it is, you know one thing, you know, the last administration got everything wrong. I don't know if it is inability of the old age of our president or inability of his illness that lead to give birth to many things. You know, during last administration, once they give you appointment, they will tell you, I leave you for God. Buhari will always tell you, I leave you for God. And Nigeria doesn't fear God because they believe God is far. They take advantage of his weaknesses and inability to take charge of things. Many things went wrong. Security was dashed. everything, everybody, all they after is embezzlement. Nobody work. Could you imagine sometimes some of the military was making convention that it was the old gun. They painted it and give it back to them. You know, sometimes when these guys are coming, once they want to take action, they will not get order from above. But when you don't get order from your superior and you go ahead of these guys, you'll be brought to court of the military court, and you'll be court-martialed. And you see those people killing people. But I have a lot of friends who went through Medugri and the rest of that. The zeal in them, the eagerness in them, they don't have the equipment, they don't have that support, that their motivation. You know? And that is exactly what's playing out today.
Okay, please
How
wrap
can
up.
a place like that? Yeah, how can a place like FCT you allow kidnappings to be? You know, they are having a free day in a place like FCT here. They are having a free day. People are giving reports. Even that day, you know, could you imagine what happened in Kuja?
Okay, son, please just round up because of time, please.
Yeah, so for me, until we get a zero-minded president, that is when we should start working. But with this set of people today, I don't think anything different will come out of this present administration. Have a nice celebration.
All right, thank you very much for your opinion there. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Saido calling from Niger State, Suleja area.
Okay, so you do many thanks for calling.
Yes. Yesterday we had one issue of kidnapping here in Suleja around Chaza area.
Okay.
Yes, and the kidnapping was as if it is a planned work. Before you know, these bad guys came in around 4 a.m., made away with one person in us.
Wow.
Hello?
We are with you, please.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Yes, in us, before we knew, we alerted the military, the police, and then the other area again. Same area, armed robbery, were doing another burglary again. So the issue was that men are ready to work, no mobilization, no fuel in the military, in the police vehicle or whatever, we don't know. That was how the issue happened, and then they went through Baguru forest and then boxed out to Gogoleta area.
Wow. So the hit was successful.
Successful, they carried the person and made their way into the forest around that Chaza area like this. And people were complaining that area is filled up with bandits and what. I don't know, maybe the government are aware of where these people are, but to go there and work is the problem.
Okay. Well, thank you for this information.
No, please, I think we have to at least make more voices to the government to hear and come to people's aid, because people are just there, nothing. So we need more security assistance in just all those suburb areas, like what he has just said.
All right.
So that's just my contribution this morning.
Thank you, Seidu.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good
Hello?
morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. What's your
Chief
name?
Cosmo Fibunadi from Suleja.
Chief, you're welcome.
I always love to hear the voice of this your analyst. I don't know, I don't know what they call him.
Okay, Ade Folari.
Okay, Ade Ferreira. He always took my mind. You see, I always advocate for internet or security technology for Nigeria. Because look at Abuja, for instance. The landmark alone, around 800,000 or 8,000 square meters. It's bigger than some of the states in Southeast and South. You understand? And so, if there is security breach around that Bachi, what we call Kujia and the rest of them, those far places, while the city area is protected, you cannot blame anybody for that.
Are you saying that the people in Kuje and those areas do not deserve to be protected?
They're supposed to have security, but if the people, are we helping ourselves? Look, I always refer you to Southeast. Every village or had what they call barricades. When there is security breach in the afternoon or in the night, there will be barricades. There will be no motorcycle, no motor car enter.
Has that actually stopped the insecurity in the southeast?
There is an insecurity there in the southeast. More than what you are talking about here. Somebody just called from Suleja. I live at Suleja. So yes, I heard about the kidnapping of someone somewhere. Yeah, this is very close. People are living there, many. Both
Chief Cosmos, what you're saying now sounds to me like victim blaming. Like you're blaming the victims or the people who are powerless, who do not have AK-47s to protect themselves against people who come with AK-47s and AK-49s and or even Chinese and all the sophisticated weapons. How do these people? First of all, the government says you cannot bear arms as a citizen.
It's a part of the security. You have Nigeria civil defense, part of security. So these people will link themselves with the police and other armed policemen. You understand? When there is a breach of security, they will align them. They will come in dozens. But the problem here we have that lukewarm attitude. Everybody don't care. You look for police which are not forthcoming. But do you know that if you have electronics or security technology, it will reduce the amount of police manpower you have on the ground.
So who would deploy that? The people who would deploy that, or who would buy these equipment that you're talking about?
Government.
You're just going in circles trying to protect.
Okay, Chief, thank you very much. All right, thank you very much, Chief, for your opinion there. Let's get another reaction. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
And Diana,
nice to have you.
Good to have you.
The issue of security, I think, is not a new security in this country. Is not a We have been giving advice on this station. The issue that most of these advice go through the carpet and it dies there. The issue is if our government will have the heart of their citizens and the government at heart, they will take the action before these things happen. Make statistics to find out, make a research to find out. Most of their families are not here. They are in a country where they are highly secured by security. Projects, your guest just spoke this morning. It is the duty of the government to protect life and property of its citizens. Take ETC documents on what? On constitution paper. But the action is not carried out. What are we saying? Simply means we are not doing what is the use of things not to be in order. There are things that you do in Nigeria here, you go free. You can't do it in just Gabon here and go free. That is it. So until all of us, it's a holistic work. Do we have a tree at heart? Do we have a system where we can arrange for our children coming? Some people report and die for this nation before we become one Nigeria.
Okay, just round up, please.
Yeah. So if the government do not have their citizens at heart, the abnormality that we are seeing on this ground will still continue.
Okay.
So let us go back to the drawing board and take our nation at heart to make sure that everybody will fight this insecurity in this country.
Thank you very much.
This corruption. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yanacho, before I take another call, talking about papers, policies on papers, pronouncements and all. The former Minister of Communication also that's talking about Adebayo Shitu said that most of Buhari's ministers, Buhari never saw them. Like he would just, they would come for meetings and he wouldn't query them. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? But for Tinubu now, he said, okay, every month they should come and report. How are the ministries, departments and agencies? What are they doing with these funds? Do you see this coming to pass, or the normal pronouncements or paper policies?
There's also the what do you call it now? The office headed by Hadiza.
Okay, yes, the monitoring
that's supposed to monitor
office
and evaluate
performances.
And again, you want to ask. This was somebody who a minister fired when she was at the Port Authority.
NPA boss.
Now, would these ministers be able to report to her?
Oh wow!
She's supposed to be like the HR of the presidency, right? But then, can she really?
Can she handle that office?
Can she really? These are people who are powerful people who are trying to remove governors in some states. Who are managing governors in some states.
But I heard she's a no-nonsense woman.
She could be. She could be. Which is why the president has said, if you have a problem with her, come to me. Right. So we see this. There's a posturing of, we want to do the right thing with evaluation and all of that, performance management. That's good. But it has to go beyond word of mouth. It has to go beyond just creating this office. It has to go beyond, oh, you have to come every month to report to me and tell me what you're doing. Now, many people have asked, what are the KPIs? What are the key performance indicators? As a manager or as an executive, or manager now, you give your people key performance indicators. They know the key performance indicators. Everyone in the organization knows the key performance indicators. So if you're not meeting up to your KPI on your own, before the next what's it that we call now? What's it that we do at the end of the year?
Evaluation? What?
It's sort of evaluation.
Like appraising your performance.
Before the appraisal comes, you already know that we're not doing well. If you handle a department, you know your department isn't doing well. So that's what we need to see. Nigerians need to know it so that we can. I mean, look at Olubunmi Ojo, the Minister for Interior.
No one cares whether he's PC or not.
Everyone is singing the man's praise. They're saying what he's doing because they know what he's supposed to do. And people who have said NSCDC, for instance, for security, let's not forget that the NSCDC also has a mandate to protect national assets. National assets. So yes, they may, oversight sometimes, but if you go to security meetings and you hear how there's a bit of rivalry between the police and the NSCDC saying, look, you're overstepping your bounds. You should not be doing the job of police. Police saying, the NSCDC saying, you should not be doing the job of, NSCDC. And the army saying, all of you are doing our job. It just leaves you wondering. Let's have these clear performance indicators for all the ministers and all the ministries. So if they're not doing well by themselves, they know, and Nigerians also know that they're not doing well, and they can actually begin to raise their concerns and say, President, these guys are not doing well.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Hello, good morning. Hello. Are you there? Okay, I think network issues there. Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Promoting from there.
Promoting from there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you.
Prince, I agree with you.
Good morning.
We are talking of Robona Jackson on the line.
Oh, nice to have you, sir.
We are talking of insecurity in FCT here. Sometimes it used to baffle me. An army man will still have an insecurity man guiding him. In this corner, it's a military man or a force man. We still have another police or two or three guiding both in the car, in the office, and in his house. What of all that? Then what is this security we are talking about, particularly in FCT here? Okay, they say she sees something, he says something. Do you know that when you give police information, most of the time you become a victim? If assuming that you give information before they go there, maybe the either whatever name they are being called has left, you will be queried, you will be detained, there are many things. No, so that's why if you see on certain things, you keep quiet. That's why, and we are not the cause of all these things. It started from onset that I used to give you a proverb. To roast ant is very simple, but who will bring it out? We have already roasted this ant. Then who is to bring it out? There are policies. So these policies are developing. Like your guest spoke the other day, we said he spoke very well. Why can't all those policies be implemented in these offices that they know something about it very well? Why are they not being implemented or being posted around those places? They will come on the radio, they will speak very fine, give many analysis, very fine. But at the end of the day, we keep on talking. 8 years just gone.
All right, thank you very much, Jackson. Thank you, sir.
Another 6 months again.
All right, thank you very much, Jackson. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello? Okay, I think network there. All right, this might be our last call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my man.
Yes, good morning. Nice to have you. Oh, GB, nice to have you. Welcome.
Good morning, Yana Shaw.
Good morning, GB.
He's here.
Yes, issue of the president saying there will be report and key performance index. I think it's workable.
Okay.
Because if you look at what NBLA is doing now, nobody could imagine that they have been existing for the past 30 years in Nigeria.
I think the man at the helm of affairs there, Buba Marua, Major, Brigadier Marua, I don't know what the kind of motivation they gave them. But you can see what they have done in the over the past 2-3 years. So I believe leadership is key. If you stamp your feet on the ground and say, look, I need this report, you're not performing, and I told them before, even in the budget, in the New Year delivery, New Year speech, he said, look, if you do, you cannot perform, give us space. So I think that the president can make it work if you stand on your feet. Because the box stop at is stable. So I think the ministry, everybody should be put on a day so that for us to realize to make Nigeria a better place. And we the citizens also need to support. Because sometimes the government will provide some amenities, something to make life better. But the populace will not make it work. Like traffic light in Abuja now, it's everywhere. The people are beating traffic. Deliberately they will beat traffic. If they want to obey the traffic rule, they will be abusing you. Say, why are you blocking me? Why do you not go? You see? So I'm saying that for Nigeria to be better, it takes both the government and the populace to make it work. But I believe that the government can achieve is so far there's what the kind of penalty.
All right.
Is to make somebody an example to them. If that did not perform, you send the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, GB, for your wonderful contribution as always. Very quickly, I'm Virtue from Aso Drive. Whenever I visit NNPC Towers here in Central Business District, I'm always shocked by the number of security agents stationed there to protect the high and the mighty working there. There are soldiers, mobile police, conventional police, civil defense, private security operatives in large number doing nothing, and they just sit there idle and gisting. At the most, they stand up and salute every SUV car that goes in or out of that tower. They know that they know that is a big man. Okay, there is a daily routine at that is the daily routine at the NNPC towers and similar high-profile structures in Abuja. I believe Abuja residents who have anything to do with the CBD can testify to this fact. These are security agents on our payroll every day, wasting manpower, security hardwares, and taxpayers' monies protecting the few. The most disgusting ones are those running errands for Oga Madams, Oga side chicks, and girlfriends. What a system. Virtue from Aso Drive. Now, before we wrap things up, or before you even react to that, if you remember, Michael Kiro said something that time, over 150,000 policemen are with the VIPs, and yet we say we don't have enough manpower. What is wrong with us in this country?
Well, the current IG says we need 190,000 of them, and he's going to say, "Oh, let's withdraw. We have withdrawn VIP police officers, but have they really been withdrawn? Do we still not see them with VIP?"
Well, they came out for clarification that they didn't mean that they were going to withdraw all the police; that they were just going to withdraw the mobile police. Okay. All right.
Semantics, if you ask me.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being part of the ride this morning.
I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for calling.